My Way or the Highway, CEO Bear 004. A comment was left on 003 that was intriguing. John, no surname, just John, said I had a rule in my business when it came to anybody around me, family or hired help. My way or the highway, take your pick. By the way, John, we spell pick, P-I-C-K. Yeah, not like take a selfie, buddy. I get it. Sometimes your thumbs are too big for iPhones, voice to text, whatever. We're going to talk about this, my way or the highway. Yes and no, absolutely not. First, let's talk about data-driven decision making. Having good inputs gets you good outputs. Does your way work? My way or the highway? And under what circumstances does it work? And is your way the only way that works? The answer to all those things is probably no. Nope. Not even a little bit. Our brother Saul would say, you're trapped in your myopic paradigms. Now, if we're in a situation where it's life or limb, you must do this way or you will die. Not like, I'm going to kick your ass for insubordination and kill you, but like, if you're not properly grounded in this electrical substation, they're going to arc off of that 69 kVA line and turn you into a pile of smoldering ash. That kind of thing, yeah. Safety infractions, even though these safety rules seem stupid sometimes, yeah, there's absolutely an element of my way or the highway. Because my old man used to say, every OSHA rule is written in blood. Even if OSHA has been a huge pain in my ass at times. There's reasons, right? There's reasons for that. So, when safety, life and limb is involved, sure, my way or the highway, or there's a technical specification that cannot be transgressed. You must machine this part within X thousandths of an inch in X, Y, and Z dimensions. Okay, that's a tangible deliverable. You either did that or you didn't. You must be at work at 0800, 0700, 0430, whatever. You have enough of a track record of not being there if you're just late all the time. Because how you do one thing is how you do all things. My way or the highway. Beat feet, get out of here. Okay, sure thing, bro. And so in many ways, yes, my way or the highway. But in many cases, no, absolutely not, John. Absolutely not. And so what we're going to discuss today is kind of that dichotomy, which, by the way, is a word that I used way before I knew who Jocko was. Dichotomy. So, data-driven decision making. Good data in, good decisions out. Bad data in, bad decisions out, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Rule number one of computer programming. And your brain is a biomechanical computer. Two issues with making bad decisions. Your ego and your blind spots. Your ego, this is the way I do it. We've always done it this way before, so it must be done this way. You're stupid, therefore all of your ideas are wrong and bad, and we're not using them. I know because I'm the boss. Surely they wouldn't have hired me to laud over you, wee little peasant, if I didn't know what I was doing. And if you knew what you were doing, you wouldn't be the peasant, would you? You'd be the boss. You know what? That is absolute horse shit, that attitude. And you wonder why you can't put good people around you. We're going to look at team building in a moment. It's because you're a tyrant. Alan Kay, survivalist, acquaintance, good dude, likes to say ego is not your amigo. And if you're making ego-based decisions, your decisions are going to suck shit. Also, blind spots. What do you not know? The worst position to be in is not knowing that you don't know something. Ignorance. It's not bliss. It's wildly dangerous. Not knowing that you don't know something. You are operating with a false sense of reality at that point. Huge blind spot. Next best is knowing that you don't know. Stay with me here. Hang with me. Knowing that you don't know. I don't know how many LEDs are in this little lantern right here that's lighting the team room currently. I don't know. I don't care. I don't need to know. But if that was pertinent to a decision I had to make, I'd do some research, right? I know that I don't know. Next is knowing what you don't know. What information do I need to know that I don't currently know so that I can get back to data-driven decision making? What do I need to know that I don't know? And then finally, you rectify that by learning, yes, key word, learning, my way or the highway, learning what it is that you don't know. And what you might learn is that you need to, Pareto principle, give that away to somebody else. Nope, I don't need to know how many LEDs are in this lantern. That's somebody else's job, not my job, because I'm the boss man. I have people for LEDs in lanterns, right? Or maybe I do. I really do need to know. I need my people on my team to bring me that information so I can make an informed decision. It's important. Is it 17 LEDs or 18 LEDs? I need to know. So ego and blind spots. The worst is not knowing that you don't know. The best with blind spots is knowing that you don't know and knowing what you need to know so that you can find that information so that you can make appropriate decisions. So we already talked about life and limb. With safety and security, yes, it's my way or the highway because people could die. But that doesn't mean that you don't receive input from people. Boss, I think that we need to put the machine gun here. Okay, you're the machine gunner. Sounds good. Roger that. Did you check for X, Y, and Z? Yep, we checked for X, Y, and Z. Also A, B, and C. Roger that. Appreciate you. Sounds good. Do it. Previous experience is our next little line item here, and it matters. It matters a lot. We all have training scars from previous experience. Just because you've done it 1,000 times before and it worked doesn't mean that's the best way to do it or there aren't other ways to do it. Somebody could come along and revolutionize the way you've done this thing 1,000 times before and make it twice as efficient and therefore 50% more profitable. You want to make 50% more money doing the same thing or slightly differently? Hell yeah, I'm in. Or get 50% of your time back? Yeah, I'm in. So our previous experience is a strength and a weakness. It's a strength because we've made it this far. We know at least this handful of moves. I know how to do this, certain group of things and tasks. I can execute on these problems without much of an issue. That's good. Previous experience is good. If I've got a surgeon that needs to work on me, I want them to have as much previous experience as possible, right? Reps and sets, that's good stuff. But we also have to acknowledge that our previous experience, those training scars, can absolutely be a negative. If we're doing something wrong, my way or the highway, we're doing something wrong, or there's a better, more efficient way to do it. And what do I mean by better? It saves you more time, makes you more money, it mitigates risk, right? Those, off the top of my head, 3 different betters. So your previous experience, as well as the previous experience of everybody around you, are you hiring drones to put widgets in a cardboard box, mindless work that requires essentially a human robot? Or are you doing deep and meaningful work? Ray Dalio in Principles discusses the 2 keys to a happy life, and I would submit there's 3 because he's an atheist. First, have a relationship with the Father by the blood of the Son. Next, have meaningful relationships with people, and last, do meaningful work. Well, you spend a lot of time at work, bro. You should probably have meaningful relationships with the people you're working with, which gets back to having a deep and abiding mutual respect of one another based upon, in many cases, your previous experience. So if you hired Todd, and Todd knows more about something than you do, good, lean on that previous experience. It's not a competition between you and Todd. You and Todd are on the same team trying to accomplish the same goal. And that's not some feel-good synergistic bullshit. It's a fact, because the better you accomplish the goal, the more you'll be trusted with, the more money, the more freedom, the bigger expense account, the cooler company truck, the more trips, whatever your goal is, you'll be able to go on. So getting back to data-driven decision-making, SMEs, SMEs, subject matter experts. Who knows what about this thing that I know because of my blind spot I don't know about? Right? Refuge Medical, some of our subject matter experts. We have people who do stuff for a living, who yode in a martial context for a living. We've got Rangers, we've got Special Forces, we've got Navy SEALs, we've got Marines, we've got Air Force PJs, we've got law enforcement officers, we've got paramedics, we've got EMTs, all of which who help us develop our kits. Because I know some stuff about trauma medicine, but these are people who are literally doing it every day, who are helping us refine our kit and our capability, right? Why wouldn't I use subject matter experts? What's the difference between a 14 gauge and a 10 gauge decompression needle, and why does it matter? Yeah, I can read all the white papers about that, but why don't I go talk to somebody who's decompressing people on the regular and what are your observations, right? Subject matter experts. For example, your CPAs and your attorneys. My way or the highway, the CPA says, hey, John, I need you to do this thing or you're going to go to prison for tax evasion. I don't think so, Phil. It's my way or the highway. Bullshit. See, that's that ego flaring up again. You better pay attention to your subject matter experts. You ignore their input to your detriment. And the bigger your ego is, the less you're going to be able to receive external input from people that know more about this certain thing than you do. First, know thyself. We've talked about that in a couple different videos already. First, know thyself. What do you know? And what do you not know? Subject matter experts. And then once you get to this point, again, Pareto principle, data-driven decision making. Once I know what I don't know, and I know what I need to know that I don't currently know, do I need to execute on that, or does somebody else need to execute on that? Is it my job, or is it Phil's job? I'll tell you what, when it comes to making sure there's money in the tax overflow account and it gets sent to the IRS at the right time, not my job. My job is to make the money. My job is to run the teams. My job is to make critical decisions so that there's money in the bank to pay the IRS. It's not to chew my fingernails and watch the bank account knowing that, oh man, a whole bunch of money has to go to the IRS. Render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's. Ugh, hate them. Hate them. But orange is not the new black. I don't want to spend a significant portion of my life away from my family in an orange jumpsuit because I didn't give Caesar what was his. Because it's my way or the highway. So Pareto principle, smart guy. Be a smart guy. Give away the shit that's not yours to execute on. You execute on what you need to execute on. Which comes to the CEO or the boss's job is to solve problems and make good decisions. Make a call, bro. Solve problems and make good decisions. The input from the team is going to be more valuable for solving problems than your input alone, because it doesn't matter how good you are at anything. The team's collective experience is going to trump your individual experience. The team's expertise is going to trump your individual expertise. Now, push-pull, dichotomy, balance here. Somebody has to have executive authority. Going back to the boss. Somebody has to be able to say, love it, thank you for the input, Great idea. We're going with course of action B. Executive authority. Chief executive officer. Chief, the top, the big kahuna. Executive, do stuff. Officer, execute. CEO, chief executive officers, solve problems and make good decisions. This is different than finance or operations or marketing or sales or human resources or whatever. And okay, you got a small business, you're new to this. Praise Yah, you're here. That's awesome. You're probably wearing all these hats at the same time. That goes back to Pareto principle. Give away the stuff that you're not good at. Fiverr, Fiverr. Subcontractors, part-time employees, whatever. Mitigate all that bullshit. Give away the 80% that doesn't give you a return on your investment so that you can focus on the 20% of what you do day to day that does. Because my way or the highway. It's a lonely, lonely place out there on that highway, John. What happens when somebody says that to you? My way or the highway. Is your ego so big that you can't acquiesce to the outside input of somebody else who has more power, authority, experience, wisdom than you do? Or are you willing to sit at the foot of the master and learn? My way or the highway. You think Messiah is impressed by that bullshit? Negative. The CEO's boss, or the boss's job is to solve problems and make good decisions. We do that again with data-driven decision making. What do the numbers say? But also, what does the team say? What is our previous experience? How do we mitigate risk? Where are our egos in the way? What blind spots do we have? Do we need to bring in subject matter experts? Pareto principle, who's in charge of what? Okay? This requires the boss or the CEO to be a lifetime learner, which is acknowledging that you don't know everything. It's not possible for you to know everything. It's not possible for me to know everything, which gets back to know what you don't know and know whether or not it's critical that you know it. I know, it sounds stupid, but it's incredibly important. If you can grasp that concept, you are light years ahead of the standard sheeple that walk the face of the earth. And knowing that you don't know something doesn't mean that it's a criticality. I don't need to know the nose cone construction on a Russian intercontinental ballistic missile. It is not pertinent to my day-to-day life. I don't need to know that. I know that I don't know it, but I don't need to know it. Zero criticality, right? I do need to know, for example, what the current state of medical components on the face of the globe is, because I need availability of those components to be able to produce the kits that save people's lives and, as a byproduct, feed 22 families. I need to know that. Criticality. Lastly, people, teams, systems, and culture. Did a Patreon video on this, so I'm not going to go super deep on this because I unpacked all 4 of those things in that Patreon whiteboard video. People, teams, systems, and culture. As the boss, you got to run these people. The better you run these people, the more teams that you have, and the more cohesive each said team is. The systems are the tools, the protocols, the techniques, TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures, coupled with the equipment and, dare I say, the specifications and guidelines that your industry has in order for you to use that equipment, coupled with a budget and a timeline, because everything's just a friggin' good idea unless it has a budget and a timeline, which should probably be our next video. Budget and timeline, which is basic project management stuff. Making a note on the Palm Pilot 1.0 right now. Budget and timeline. Boom. Bear, how do you run a multi-million-dollar company from a outhouse shack with a LED lantern taking notes on your hand? Because it ain't about being fancy. It ain't about your ego. I've made millions and millions and millions of dollars. I've built 10 businesses to more than 7 figures thus far for myself and for other people. And this is not me tooting my own horn. It's just a fact. Grew up poor. First business founded was $700. Sold it for $1.4 million 5 years later. Back when 1.4 was a real number. Unlike what we have today, with all of our rampant inflation, but I digress. My point is, it doesn't have to be fancy, and if you make it fancy, that's your ego flexing. You know what's super duper sexy? Having a house that's paid off, having land that's paid off, having a truck that I don't know a dime on. I don't need a Lambo or a mansion or an infinity pool or, natural gas fireplaces. I don't need any of that shit, and neither do you. What's sexy is having money in the bank for when something blows up, you can, rather than react to contact, you can just problem solve. That shit's sexy. Which gets back to people, team, systems, and culture. If the culture of your business is my way or the highway, why the do I want to work for you? Because from jump, your ego is on display. If that's your ethos as a company, my way or the highway, and I'm not willing to listen to your input, if I don't acknowledge that I have blind spots, if I don't acknowledge that your previous experience is likely just as valuable as mine is, if I don't acknowledge that in certain ways I'm the subject matter expert and in certain ways you're the subject matter expert, if I don't understand the Pareto principle that 20% of what I do every day gets me 80% of my results, which means the 80% of what I do every day I should probably give to you, why the hell do I want to be a part of your company to begin with? My way or the highway. That shit's cute. I hope you have a really successful side of the road retread tire distribution company that nets maybe in a good year $162,000 a year. Gross, not net. Best of luck, John. You want to build something that's meaningful, that's bigger than you, that's on 4 continents and feeds 22 families and saves 61 people's lives to date. You better take that my way or the highway bullshit and throw it out. Unless it's quantifiably life or limb. Everything else, I don't know. And you don't know. Because part of the boss's job is to be a lifetime learner. And if there's somebody on the team that knows better than I do, or somebody who's on the team who's had a previous experience that's pertinent to what we're trying to do, I better listen to them. If I don't, I ignore them to my own detriment. And by the way, the world, the economy is getting more difficult, not easier, more competitive, not less competitive. People have less money to spend on everything, and so maybe my way or the highway worked for you for the last 10 years, 15, 20 years where money was cheap and easy. It ain't going to work for you going forward. And I don't want to work for somebody that's a my way or the highway kind of guy. And so you're going to exclude the best possible hires you could make to bring into your company by having that myopic, egotistical bullshit paradigm as the way that you operate. Don't be that way, Bear Nation. Bless y'all. Shalom.